Hi, everybody. Coach Allison back with week 45, Defy Aging workout to review with you. This week is going to all be in your own space, so you won't be rotating around like we do typically. And there's two different circuits. So the first one has 3 exercises, and you're going to run through those for 5 rounds of 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and you'll get a little longer break between each round. The second circuit, again, you're still in your own space, is only 2 exercises. So it's kind of like a superset, doing 2 things back to back. And that is for 3 sets of 60 seconds on, 40 seconds off. So we're kind of all over the place this week with sets and interval times. But there's only a total of 5 exercises. So let's run through those. First exercise is a single arm thruster. So that incorporates a standard squat with a press overhead. So but again, the single sided. So we have one weight, and we're going to turn the palm inward, so facing in as opposed to forward. The weight is resting in front of your shoulder, but it's not on top of the shoulder. So it's not actually physically touching your shoulder. This one's tough for the leverage. So as you go down into your squat, feet hip width apart, you're going to sink your hips down and back. Want to make sure that this weight is staying level with the shoulder and it's not tipping down like this. So keeping that weight up here, and that actually already incorporates a lot of chest and shoulder muscles. As you come up from your squat, you're going to do the thruster component, which is thrusting that weight up. And you want it to be all nice and smooth and fluid. Okay, halfway through the set, we'll switch sides. You'll end up doing 15 seconds on each side. That's the single arm thruster. Next up, we have a band side step with a bicep curl. You need the bands with the handles on each end for this. All right, place your feet in the center of the band. You want to make sure the band is in the arch of the shoes, and that's going to lock it in there nice and safe. And you put just a little bit of tension on it, just enough so that it feels a little taut, so it's not super loose, but we don't need to be holding the arms way up here. Turn your palms forward because we're going to go into a bicep curl. So you take one big step, one curl. Other direction, one curl. And that is our step curl. You can change it up. Your coach might have you do 2 steps and 2 curls just for a little variety. We do have 5 sets of this, so it might be nice to kind of get a little variety in there. But when you do your step, excuse me, make sure you have a soft bend in your knees, just enough so they're not locked in straight. So a soft bend in the knees doesn't mean they're squatting. And as you take your step, you have to keep your foot and your ankle really engaged because you really want to keep the foot strong and sturdy. We don't want to let the foot kind of turn inward. So watch my feet. If I allow my feet to kind of turn like this or like this, that's going to kind of throw the band all out of whack. So you want to really keep your ankle and your foot strong as you do your step. And there is another option if the band is newer for you and maybe you don't feel very sturdy or steady with it yet. What you can do is take 2 weights and do the step curl with the weights. We're doing all the same movements. We're simply taking out maybe the instability of the band if that's something you're not comfortable with yet. So we'll take a step and we'll do a controlled bicep curl with the dumbbells. So you're still getting that nice lateral movement with the legs and hips, which is what we want here. So that is an option if the band is something you're not comfortable with just yet. The last exercise for the first circuit is a dumbbell back row, but we're going to do an up, up, down, down pattern, which we do that actually quite often with the shoulder presses. We're going to do it with the back row today. So you have a dumbbell in each hand, come into that forward fold position, which is soft bend in your knees, hinging your hips back, and your back is nice and flat so we're not curving or rounding the back. Once you have that body position, palms are turned inward towards one another. We're going to row up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. As you row up, make sure you're squeezing those shoulder blades together. So watch between my shoulder blades how you can see I'm getting that squeeze. That's what you want to do at the top of your row. And that is our dumbbell back row with the up, up, down, down pattern. Okay, circuit 2, the one that only has 2 exercises. This one there's no equipment needed, perhaps maybe an incline, but we'll go over that. It's going to be more cardio and endurance for this little superset. So again, this is the one where there's 3 rounds of 60 seconds on, 40 seconds off. Now, first exercise actually kind of is comprised of 2 exercises. We're going to do a jumping jack and a forward floor run. So last week we had the forward box run. So we had the stepper to step on. This just doesn't include the step. So we do 30 seconds of each to make our full 60-second round. So we start with jumping jacks, typical jacks. At the halfway point, so at the 30-second mark, your coach will tell you to switch, and we go into a forward floor run, which is a fast feet going forward and back. Now, you can, of course, do a step jack as opposed to a jumping jack. That is a full step right and left. So what I see sometimes, and it's okay, but I see a lot of modified jacks like this, totally fine. However, it's my opinion that you doing the full step jack as opposed to a tap jack, it gives your body just a little more movement, and it does create, allows your hips to take a full step as opposed to tapping out and in. So that more, I think that more mimics a regular traditional jumping jack. So that's my recommendation for a step jack option. Same thing at the halfway mark, you will turn into that forward floor run. And again, from the side, so you can just kind of see I'm keeping soft knees and I'm staying on the balls of my feet. So I'm not putting my feet down hard, but I'm staying nice and light on the balls of those feet. And that is exercise 1. And exercise 2 for this superset is, again, it's a 60-second set, right? Or a 60-second stretch of time that you're working. We're going to do 2 exercises, very similar though. We're going to start with a high plank for the first 30 seconds, then go to a low plank for the second part of the minute. So high plank means you're on your hands as opposed to your elbows. So you can do this version on knees. If you're doing knees, want to make sure your hips are nice and level. So if you're doing the knee version, we just want to make sure we're not doing this. This is a tabletop, which is not really engaging too many muscles. But if you bring those hands forward a little and then shift your hips down, now we're in that nice diagonal. So you can do knees like that or toes like this, whichever option you do. You want to make sure that your hands are directly under your shoulders and they're not way out in front with your hips up like that. So halfway through the set, your coach will call out halfway, and we're going to lower down to the elbows for a low plank. This is the more traditional plank. And again, you can definitely do this on knees. However, if you're doing knees, again, make sure you're nice and level and your butt isn't way up here. A minute's a long time for a plank, so feel free to mix and match the toes and knees. Maybe you can do the first 30 seconds on the toes, then at halfway, you're going to put the knees down to finish out the low plank. If you feel like you got a little second burst of energy, pop onto those toes. This is your minute. You get through it however you need to. You can do either, you can do both of those planks on an incline to avoid being on the floor. So that is also an option. So just to show you what that'll look like, high plank like this. Again, make sure we're not doing this. But what did I do before? Remember, shift my body forward, sink my hips down, and then the low plank, you're down on your elbows. Okay, so lots of options there. So that is our high plank to low plank. All right, our team builder this week is going to be something we haven't done for a very long time, at least not in Defy Aging. It's our bowling activity. So your coach will set up some dumbbells, and you're going to divide into 2 teams, depending on how many people are with your group. And you're going to do some bowling. So you're going to take a medicine ball. I'm not going to set it all up to show you, but medicine ball, you kind of roll it towards the pins or towards the weights. You knock down as many as you can, and your coach will decide how they want to have you win that, whether each pin counts as a point or whoever knocks them all down first. That'll be up to your coach to decide. But we're going to have a little fun with some bowling for our team builder this week. Okay, team, that's week 45. See you back next week for week 46.